What's in my mind right in this moment that was triggered by a podcast I was watching is, why do people continue to vote for obvious sociopaths or psychopaths or sadistic narcissists? You notice how I use a lot of these words somewhat interchangeably. Authoritarian. If you study personality theory or personality psychology, you understand that personality types cluster, that there's something called Axis 2 Cluster B in the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, and I don't want to get lost in the sauce in that, but it's just understanding that certain personality types are part of certain clusters that have been psychometrically tested across thousands of people. And the point is, there's a certain personality type that is authoritarian, that is, I say, sadistically narcissistic, meaning they get pleasure from hurting and harming and using and abusing and preying upon others. My simple observation is something that I've been super frustrated with for really decades is, why do people continually support and fight for and take allegiance with obvious narcissistic, sociopathic, psychopathic, authoritarian people? I would say it's the number one issue. We can break down all the issues all we want. If reasonable, normal, loving, family-oriented people are so easily duped by obvious psychopaths, then there's no hope to change the system that we're all trying to survive in. And that leads me to my second thought, which is another broad dynamic that you could just look at as sort of a universal issue that helps us to understand the entire system that we're living in. We talk about a national debt of $40 trillion. And what's obvious is that the American taxpayer, we give up, we work our asses off, we fight to get by every month, and we pay taxes, and there is a class of people that has created systems that uses our tax dollars to purchase goods and services, purchase fuel, purchase munitions, purchase services, purchase, and they make trillions of dollars on the backs of our hard work, and they make trillions of dollars in the name of war, in the name of suffering, in the name of control. And then they say we're in debt. And they use this idea of being in debt to take more taxes. But they're not the ones that are going to pay the debt. We are the ones with the debt on our backs. We're the ones that are going to suffer. This is a dynamic that is as old as the hills. And again, just like the other thing I mentioned, this is an obvious dynamic. It's obvious that we continually allow sociopathic, narcissistic, authoritarian, psychopathic people into power. These people create systems and laws and institutions that become grotesquely wealthy and powerful because of our investment, and all the debt goes to the people. And what's astounding is that we allow ourselves to get separated and divided into left and right, because the same class of people that behaves this way exists in all institutions. They exist in all organizations. They purposefully create the institutions and the organizations in order to use and abuse and manipulate. And without going overboard and trying to propose a solution, because again, we get so separated and divided in our proposals of solutions, because then we try to propose a conservative solution or a liberal solution or a Republican solution or a Democrat solution, and we allow the psychopath to convince us that they have the answer for us, and we do it over and over and over again. The solution is objective education. The solution is a willingness to look in the mirror and to take ownership. All of us as individuals to take ownership over our own ideas and our attachment to our own ideas and our own beliefs and our own tendency to be used and abused and manipulated. And to really do the deep work of understanding, why are we so easily duped? Why are we so easily used and abused and manipulated? Why do we allow obvious, and I mean blatantly obvious, psychopaths to use and abuse and manipulate us over and over and over again? And it's not just in politics, it's in religion, it's in any sort of organized power. These types of people, this type of personality, will seek power in religious institutions, in medical institutions, in government institutions. It doesn't matter the institution. They seek power because they feed upon power, they feed upon pleasure, they feed upon using and abusing and manipulating others. And until we understand that there is this type of personality that seeks out these positions and that purposefully has created a system that uses and abuses and manipulates us and feeds upon us, and we stop allowing ourselves to behave like abused children in a sadistically narcissistic home, until we're able to break that spell, we're going to keep creating. We are creating. We are co-creating. We are participating in a truly objectively abusive family system. The dynamic that I observe in society and culture in this country is a one-to-one correlation with what an authoritarian or a sadistically narcissistic home looks like. And I've talked about that extensively in other videos. So I hope this makes some sense. I hope it's useful. The only way this changes is if you look in the mirror and you take responsibility for your own attachment and your own justification and your own denial in the context of these collective choices that we make. And that's really, really hard to do. You got to work through your shame. You got to work through your guilt. You got to work through your tendency to blame others. You got to work through your tendency to rationalize your choices. We are all culpable. We are all responsible. We are all participating in the co-creation of the very thing that is using and abusing us, because we are behaving like abused children. That's all I got to say for now.